Here we go. Real life game changers. We are live again. You are in for a treat. We have a story to share with you today. So if you're watching this live, put hashtag live. If you've watched this on the replay, put hashtag replay. If you're watching this where on some platform that doesn't allow you to do that, then don't worry about it. Just sit back and enjoy because you are in for a treat. So the first thing I want to do for the people that are live is I want to get this shared out there. So here we go. Look, live. It's coming up already on the Facebook and Instagram. All right, here we go. Oh yeah, we're on YouTube as well. So like, I'm just gonna hit that up. Evans, I don't know if you got some at your side. I think you're actually on your phone, so you might not be able to do that your end. But yeah, so give us a comment. Let us know where you are in the world. Let us know what country you're from and what city you're from. Put that in the comments. Yeah, and if you've got any questions around property investing or how to get started, I think this story is going to be super inspiring for you. Yeah, so let's just get a few people on here. And what I want you to do is tag some people. Tag some people in here that you may think, hey, they will find how to get started right here in property, even if you only got £23 in the bank. Yeah,
literally.
And happen for you. Yeah, there we go. So we'll do a little bit more of that in a moment, but I want to introduce the guest on the Game Changer panel today, which is Evans. So thank you so much for coming on here.
I'm privileged. Thank you so much for having me, man.
Yeah, well, we just had a quick chat brief before we gone live right here. And I'm super excited to just bring it to the people, just to show how everybody can work together and it can happen no matter what it is that you're doing. So anybody who is jumping on right now, do let us know where you are. Share it on your timeline and tag at least 10 people if you want to be in with a chance to win some of our prizes that we give away. It could be real life coin loaded onto the real life credit card. It could be something from our store that you want to purchase, or you might want to put it towards something else that we're offering as well. So that will be totally awesome if you can do that. Yeah, so Evans, let's give us a bit of background. It's good to know because, I get it a lot. Like people are like, yeah, you handed down the money or you got some rich parents or something like that, which absolutely was not the case for me. And I know that wasn't for you. So tell us, how it all started out for you in the beginning.
Wicked, man. Absolutely. So for me, for those who don't know me, I'm born and raised in St. Lucia, the Caribbean. I lived there until I was 21. I came in 2013. So to say I was raised with nothing is an understatement. I can recall as a teenager, I didn't even have a television. So for me, coming here as well, I moved over. I used to live in Hackney with my grand uncle and my grand aunt. So been raised by them when I was over here. Went to Hackney Community College, and it was just not for me. So just like most people, I came in with obviously big dreams and stuff, but getting many different jobs wasn't really cutting it. Tried multiple businesses, it just wasn't really working. And then I found a very good job. I used to work at Jaguar Land Rover. Did very well, make very good money. Bought my first house. I was about 23, 24 years old. And to most of my friends, I was successful. But to me, myself, I really believe I had more to give. So I then pursued the entrepreneurial routes. I tried many different things. I did network marketing. I did trading, buying and selling cars. I did a clothing line. And I actually made money in a few of the things. But because I obviously wasn't raised with financial literacy, I obviously, blew it away. So that's kind of like my my background. Where I came from, kind of thing.
Yeah, good. No, thank you for that. So, what I just want to pull on here, because it's like, how do people know if they've got more in the tank? So, when you say like I knew I got more, either I started to make money, you started to create some success, in the eyes of your friends, you were successful. Like, what was it inside? Was it a feeling? Was it something, you were thinking? Did you not feel fulfilled? Like, what was it that made you keep searching?
Yeah, very good question, man. I think it's a combination of quite a few things, but I think the thing that really kicked me forward is just it's like how can I put it? I think the best way to explain it is probably it's like we all know these sports, these supercars, right? If for example, if you see a Lamborghini on a on the road. So my life kind of felt like a Lamborghini on a straight road, but every half a mile is a speed bump. So it's just like having the feeling of this car has got 500 brake horsepower, whatever it is, but you can never get the full potential of the car because it's on the wrong strip. So that's kind of like what my life felt like. It just felt like it was obviously just juttering every single time, but every single night, I'm dreaming of this this nice cars and this nice houses and stuff. And one day I asked her, like, why do you keep giving me those dreams, but like, you know what I mean, like, what you say to me? So it's that feeling inside that it's like, you know what, you can do it, man. Like, there's more to give. So yeah, that's kind of like an internal feeling. Yeah.
Beautiful. So, like, growing up, like, I think most people, I think it's fair to say most people, they don't have financial education growing up, mostly because the parents don't, I would say, and definitely you don't learn it outside, like in the education system or anything like that. So obviously, at this moment in time, people do have to go and get that self-education. Yeah, but like when you started to make money, was it a case of like because you never had money before, like expendable money, that's why you blew it, or like what was the kind of going on behind, like the thought behind that?
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is, right, I was obviously born and raised in St. Lucia, right? And one of my goals was to always come to England and play football. And what I used to do when I used to go to school, I used to obviously hustle. I used to wash cars. I used to sell fish. I used to literally be a hustler. I used to, most of my income came from gambling, not actually gambling. I'm not sure if you watched the film Molly's Game, right?
Yeah.
So basically, my brother had, he's got this massive house and all the guys in the area gamble, right? And I went to a gambling shop one day and I saw, there's one guy who owns the shop and he's taking an incentive every few games just because it's his venue. But he was only taking a few pounds off it. So I went there quite a few times. I'm like, what it is? I can actually make a lot of money from doing this. So what I did is I actually had my brother's house and I told all my friends that this is the area. You have to come there because you're gonna get free drinks and stuff. So everyone's got in the Caribbean, anything free, people are there. So a lot of my friends used to come every Friday, Saturday. That used to be the spot to gamble. And I used to give them drinks. I used to have cakes and stuff for them, so they used to feel comfortable. And what I used to do is every few games, I used to take a pot from the actual pot. So, and I realized in one night, I made about $500, which is probably about £200 roughly. But in St. Lucian dollars, it's a lot of money. I mean, teachers actually get paid $2,000 a month. So for me, I actually, did this properly. But what happened is after like a few months, a few of the guys, that started to lose, they start to moan and think like, what, this guy is obviously just making money off us. And then soon after that, it get cut. So why am I saying this to you? Because what I did with that money, I used to save that money every single penny. And I used to play football for St. Lucia. So I wanted to come to England and play football professionally. And I actually saved money and I came to England the first time to play. And I ended up playing for a team. I ended up playing, semi-professional football for a team in rugby. And that was okay. So, but again, in football, anybody who knows football, right? Football is one of the most toughest industries to be in, right? You train for years without seeing a penny. So what happened with me? I got injured. It kind of like killed my all my dreams and stuff. And I was back to the drawing board. But yeah, so my first job in the UK, I can never forget it, right? It was in 2013. I started a job at a company called Euro Car Parts, selling vehicle parts. I was on minimum wage on a 0-hour contract, making £18,000 a year. But for me, I actually felt rich because I was comparing £18,000 to EC dollars. And I'm thinking like, mate, doctors don't make that kind of money. So obviously, it's like a kid in a candy shop. I was spending money on, all kind of designer clothes and stuff like that because all my friends were doing it. And after a while, man, it went from designer trainers to like expensive car, like it was just crazy, buying materialistic watches. Because in the UK, we live in a world of instant gratification. Everybody wants to have the latest stuff. And because everyone around you is doing it, it's normal. Until I actually saw people coming in, with nice cars, but but they're not, but they're different. Like, you can tell they have money, they smell like money, but they don't wear materialistic stuff, man. And I got drawn into that, and I started, obviously, I fell in love with personal development and started watching, people like Steve Harvey, people like Eric Thomas, and people like G Marone, and I just realized that there's a life, other than that, and that's what really got me there. And it's like one of those things. When you see something, you can't unsee it. When I saw that there's a life, different to what I was doing, I was just like, that's what I gotta do.
I love that. When you see something, you can't unsee it. It's cool. I love it. So, okay. So like, what I'm hearing here, and I see it all the time anyway, it's a mindset. And I think because, like, your upbringing and the amount of money that you could make, or the opportunity you came here and it's like, whoa, there's money to be made, or like you felt privileged. And I think a lot of people who are born here in the UK and almost, have a kind of, let's call it an average life, they don't see how much opportunity there is. So I think you already had like that kind of one step forward with a mindset, because I mean, ultimately that's what it is. So I'm guessing that's what you took forward into your then entrepreneurial dreams. Like, what was it about being an entrepreneur? Like, what do you think made you go that route?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the thing about me is I didn't, I'm not school smart, but I'm very street smart. And one thing I've always done in my life is when I see someone has got something, I don't try to be jealous at them. I always try to figure out what did they do to get that thing. So I can recall being in St. Lucia and, basically, right, St. Lucians that's in the UK, they leave to go back to St. Lucia, on holiday. So they can, rent cars and they can floss. So floss is like, how can I say it, man? Just like, just living life kind of thing. So when I was back home, I used to see all these St. Lucians come around. They have the latest clothes. They smell good. They rent cars. And I'm thinking like, yo, I know this guy. This guy went to school with me. Like he's a normal guy like me. Why is he flossing and I'm just still struggling? So, but I never used to get jealous. I was curious. I was like, bro, what do you do? How do you get this? Whatever. And I speak to a lot of people, and I just gather information, and I use that to get to where where I want to go. So that's kind of like what it is. Sorry, I go a little further. What was your question?
My question was about entrepreneurship. I think you just brought up a really good point, because, man, I've flew all over the world, trained thousands of people, working in so many different people's businesses, helping them. And like, one of the things that you just said here, like, I believe is one of the major keys is just that openness, and not like jealousy, not envy of them, not ego, like, oh, I don't want to ask them because it makes me feel less of a person because I don't know and they do know. Or like, oh, I'm not starstruck by this person's success. But I love what you said. I mean, I even to this day, I don't ever want to change. I see someone in a nice car, I say like, what are you doing? Like, how are you doing that? And I want to know what they're doing. One funny story is my family, like, I don't even think they really know what I do. Something to do with property. If you ask them, that's probably what they would say. Or maybe they think I'm a drug dealer. I don't know. But like, they don't ask me any questions. So you touched on a really good point of like, when you see something, ask questions. Just asking questions. When I was in the IT industry and I would stay there with the directors, like, sometimes it would be like, can I go home now? Because I would like sit there asking them questions about business. How do I do it? How do I make more sales? How do we do this? How do we get better teams? All the rest of it. So you touched on a good point. So like, how did you use that mindset going forward? So like, you started learning from people. Like, what made you then? So then you entrepreneurship. Yeah, that's where we got to.
Yeah. So what drew me into entrepreneurship is just like, I realized the life that I wanted and the things I used to dream, because I actually did my due diligence, and I realized it's almost impossible to get that in a job. So I was just like, and if you do get it in a job, it's just like, it will take you so long. So I was just like, I'm not cut out for this, man. I'm just not cut out for this. And I started speaking to entrepreneurs, and they always saying the same thing. They started a business, or they did this, they did that. So almost everybody was singing the same song, and a lot of people in the UK in particular, that I spoke to who's living lavish, like they're all in property, or they're either a footballer or rapper. Now I tried rapping, that didn't really work. Football, I got injuries, so that didn't. So I was like, what am I gonna do? I got to be successful, so it has to be property. So that's kind of like what really, got me into it, man. Because I'm like, you know what it is, I have to be successful, whatever happens. I'm just that kind of person. So that's what really got me intrigued and really into it, man.
Awesome. So like, what did you start doing in, business? Like, did you start? How many businesses did you start? Did you fail? Like, what was it? What can you share with everybody here to like help them on their way?
Oh yeah, man. I mean, as I said, I think my first proper business was my Molly's game gambling business in St. Lucia. But I mean, in the UK, I started off obviously doing a clothing line, and what I did was I invested like about £2,000 in buying all these printing machines, and I started printing shirts. I started printing on mugs and plates and stuff like that, and I was just like, this is just long to make money. So the funny thing is, I stopped doing this business, but obviously my ex, who's my son's mom, recently she picked up that business again because I left all the stuff with her. So now she obviously has got a printing business. So it's called Print with Jaden. My son's name is Jaden. So she's still doing that. I started a company called Car Saucer because I used to work, as a car salesman, and I used to have people that come in and they want to have a certain car, but we haven't got it. And there's some people that comes in and they just buy the car and they don't even negotiate. Obviously, we are salespeople, so we won't tell them you can actually get a discount. Just ask. Some of them don't ask. So I said, you know what it is? There's a gap in the market, and then the other gap was there were some people who used to ask for a discount, but they couldn't ask the right way. So I'm like, they're losing money here. So I started a business as a car sourcer to find people cars at the best price in the country. So even today, I have connections with all car dealerships. So I started doing that, started making $1,000, but it was just like, it was just like the money comes in, money comes out kind of thing. And then I stumbled across network marketing. I started a company called ACN, All Communication Network, and we used to market gas, electricity. We used to market internet with Virgin Media. We used to market like services, right? So I started doing that. The gist of it was really good. That whenever people pay their bills every single month, you get a percentage. I really liked it, and I saw people make a lot of money in it. My issue with network marketing was, and don't get me wrong, I actually made good money in network marketing, but what really kind of like triggered me was just like, I have to depend on others to win, to make money. And for me, I'm like, if anything is down to me, if you tell me, Evans, just do exactly what I tell you to do, you're going to be rich. Like, it's no problem. I'm guaranteed to be rich because I believe in me. But when you have to depend on other people and, this one and that one, in network marketing, it was just like crazy, man. So that didn't really, really work. But however, for network marketing, I learned a lot of, business, mindsets, the personal growth. So honestly, network marketing really built me up. And through understanding what passive income is through network marketing, I was like, the only way I can obviously do that is through, if I become a singer and I get royalties when my music is played. I tried that didn't really work. So I'm like, it has to be property. So that's kind of like how I end up, choosing this path and this route.
So I think you mentioned you already knew like people were making money either from being a footballer, a rapper, or property. Yeah. So like, so is that what you like? Well, those two didn't work out. So did you go to property by default, or was there something about property that was like, no, I want to do it? Like, what was that?
Yeah. So I've always wanted to get into property. From the first day my eyes opened on property, because I can recall when I first came to this country in 2013, I used to live in a HMO. But it was a living landlord. So the landlord lived in the property, and he had three lodgers, right? And he wasn't paying rent. A nice fancy house in Surrey, and he was a bit of a dick, the landlord. So I was just like, how is this guy having this massive house and he's not paying no rent or no mortgage, man? And I'm scraping and scratching the barrel, trying to make ends meet, and I'm paying the rent, and he's just, do you know what I mean? I was really intrigued by that. But obviously, like a lot of people, like I speak to, they say you need a lot of money to get into property. But what happened was through network marketing, I used to go to free property events to network with investors who's got multiple houses, and I can sell them, gas, electricity, and internet. But going through all of those events, I'm seeing them, I'm hearing the stories, man. I'm learning the strategies. I'm thinking like, yo, that's not what I've been told about. You need money. You don't need money, man. Rent to rent. And after going through a few of those things, I was just like, wow, this thing is crazy, man. So I kind of like stumbled on it to a certain extent, but I always wanted to do it. If you get my drift.
Nice. Yeah. So like you always wanted to do it, but like you literally stumbled across the trainings because you were going there to network.
Yes, correct.
That is awesome. So did you get around to a lot of trainings and a lot of different you got to see across the board and what it was all like?
Yeah, I mean, I went through quite a few of them, man. Quite a few of them. Obviously, I don't want to mention all the names and stuff, but quite a few of them. And I liked, some of the things and stuff, some of the stories. But when I look at the people presenting and talking, I'm like, I can't do that. I'm not you. Like, you privileged, like you look well, like you speak right. I'm a black guy. I've got an accent, and I can't do that. But what really made me get into this is the last event I went to was actually a Samuel Leeds crash course, and I saw it was different. He wasn't wearing a suit; he was wearing a t-shirt, and there's like black guys like me doing. I'm like, okay, I can actually do this. So that's kind of like what really made me feel like, what it is, Evans. You can actually do this. So yeah, that's it, man.
Nice. So you did that, or you got involved there, and then so when was that? Because I know we're going to talk about something that happened in 2020 in a moment. So like, when was that? When you was like, yeah, I can do this?
Yeah. So I went to his crash because I think it was just prior to the pandemic, and then the pandemic hits, and then lost my job and all the rest of it, man. But yeah, just prior to. Was that 2019?
So that was the start of 2020 in UK. I remember it clearly.
2020, yeah.
It was literally after we just did this 2-day event in London, 14th and 15th of March, and then on Monday, the 16th, they were like, "We're closed."
Crazy, yeah. Right?
So I remember the date. So that happened. So that was just before then, was it? You said?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So the country's on lockdown, and you want to get involved in property. So how did that pan out for you?
Yeah, man, it was just it was crazy, man. I mean, what happened was, obviously it's lockdown, and obviously, like most people, we're binging on Netflix and stuff. And me and my partner Ellen were binging on Netflix, and we came across this this documentary on Netflix called Selling Sunset. And it was very nice, man. And I saw all these, very beautiful girls and stuff making crazy amount of money, man, selling one house. I'm thinking like, yo, I've got to get into this, man. And then I Googled Selling Sunset. I realized it's an American thing. I'm like, rah, man. My bubble just burst from there. But I was like, okay, cool, that's fine. What's the next best thing? Maybe become an estate agent. So what I did during lockdown is I applied for, I think, every single estate agency in the UK. So many applications, every single one, and none of them but one gave me an interview. It was a small little, privately owned estate agent in Slough. And when I got the interview, I was like, you know what it is? I'm getting that job. I have to get that job. And so said, so done. I went for the interview and I ended up getting the job. My partner, Ellen, she as well was the same as me. She was inspired for Selling Sunset and she applied for multiple jobs. But she's a pretty blonde girl, so she didn't have to go for as many no's as me to get a job. And then she got a job in property as an estate agent. So that's kind of like what happened in the pandemic.
Yeah, I love it. So like this, some people say like this kind of ethos is lost a little bit, like the eagerness to go out there and like get a few no's, or like there may be some, like in this generation, like some entitlement, or people don't want to work their way up from the bottom, and like you're a true kind of story here of like this is just another story of this happening. Yeah, and in fact, I was reminded of this just a few weeks ago, and I've been saying it again myself. It's like, imagine if, like anybody watching or listening right now, wherever this is or whatever it is, imagine if you were just 20 no's away from like your first million, like or like your next million or whatever your goal is. So 10 million. You were just 20 no's away from 10 million or being a billionaire. 20 no's. How excited would you be to go out there and get some no's? And it just shifts the kind of just shifts the mindset of like, oh, I'm not going to sit here kind of wrap myself in cotton wool, because I'm like you. I mean, I didn't aim to go and do this, but like interview after interview, and I don't know about you, but I had some interviews where I'm like after this drilling, like you expect us to work together, like you like just hammered me into the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I don't know if that was the same experience what you
Yeah,
had.
man. Yeah, I can relate to that so many times, man. And you know what? Thank God, because some of the things I've obviously been through in my life, it's really got me to where I am right now. And when I came to this country, I saw a few people here, and they're just like relaxing, chilling, and they're like, "Oh, I can't get a job." I'm thinking like, mate, like literally, like in the little community where I'm from, man, people would literally like give an arm or a leg or a limb just to be in the UK legally, like just to be in an opportunity that will pay them solely on their efforts, right? Because if I always said, if I was born in this country, I probably would be a professional footballer. Honestly, I was, because I was very, very good. I played for my country, but in St. Lucia, like there's so few opportunities, man. For so few opportunities, and like I've obviously gone through so many different hoops, just to be in this country, like so many different things. But when I went through those things, I realized, you know what it is, man. I didn't die. I've got all my body parts, they're still functioning. So if I went through all of those things I've been through in my life, and I'm still here, like there's anything anyone can throw at me that can break me. Do you know what I mean? So I speak to a lot of people, man, and they're like, "Oh, Evans, I haven't got this, I haven't got that. Oh, I'm broke, I'm this, I'm that." And I'm thinking, like, mate, you're in a great position. Like, you have nothing. Do you know what that means? You got nothing to lose, man. If you got nothing, that means you got nothing. You got every single thing to gain. Like, it's a great place to be, man.
Hey, I totally get it, and that's sometimes the challenge. Like I've always said this: creating success, it's not actually that difficult. Keeping the success and maintaining it and growing it even further. That's when you really do need people around you, the right coach, the right mentor, the right peers, standards. Raising the standards. You can't have all those same people that the naysayers and telling you it's not going to work. Don't do this. Don't do that. Like it's a different level of players required for the game, is what I say. Yeah, but also, but it is that mentality that's coming back again, like saying, yeah, I haven't got anything. Like, what have I got to use? I seen this kind of short reel the other day. It said like winning the lottery is like 8 million to 1 or something like that. Something else was 4 million to 1. I don't know what it was. And then it said being born, I don't know how they work this out, but like being born was something like 4 billion to 1. 400 billion. I don't know what it was. It was a massive number. And then it said, and people are like complaining about their problems or some issue or some challenge that they've got. Yeah, when it's like 4 billion to 1 to be here in the first place. So like we already won. We already won the race. We already, got the gift of an absolute genius of living in this body. So you're absolutely right, and this is an utmost thing that we always drill into all of our people, especially in the real life community. They all know it's about the mindset. The mindset. So tell us how you use this awesome mindset that you've got and this wonderful personality that's really shining through now to go then. Like, did you apply to be on the Eviction that Samuel runs?
I did apply for the Eviction, yes. So how it happened is, Samuel obviously had, he's always got a philosophy that, he's on the promise over deliver. And obviously it was anybody who's obviously, bought his training or invested in his training, should I say, are eligible. to be on the eviction. But of course, there were like thousands of application, and there was a short list. They had an interview with me, and yeah, I had an interview with a lovely lady called Amelia Santi. She's an amazing lady. We had an interview. We really bond. And I was sitting there, I was like, there were certain things, I could have said in the interview. I didn't really say it. So I sent Amelia a voice note. I was like, listen, man, I don't know how you felt about this, this video, but listen to me very closely, man. I'm very, very hungry. And the only way I'm not going to win this eviction is if you don't give me a spot. So are you going to be the one to not give me a spot? Swear down, man. I've still got the voice note today. And and I got shortlisted for the eviction. It was crazy, man. It was crazy. I was the wild card. The cards wasn't stacked in my favor. But again, my point of reference, man, I know none of these guys on this show haven't been through some of the things that I've been through, man. So they may be obviously better looking than me. I doubt that very much. But they may be smarter than me. But one thing I know, they can't work harder than me, man, because I obviously know what hard work is. And yeah, that's basically what it is. The eviction is obviously fair and square. It's just obviously down to you and your efforts. And yeah, I won the eviction. And the rest is history.
Nice. We love it. So like you did that. That was like the end of 2020. Yeah.
December 2020, yeah.
And is this the story of or this is the point of going from £23 to 25K?
So almost. So after the eviction, we had to obviously do the Financial Freedom Challenge with Samuel. Now, the Financial Freedom Challenge is a social experiment to show people that you don't need money in the bank to do property, but you need knowledge. So I had to do Samuel's online training because it was COVID. I think at the time it was like almost $5,000, and so I was like, mate, I ain't got pot to piss in. When am I gonna get $5,000? But through the eviction of doing the challenges of selling deals and finding list options, I realized how much money I could make. So I begged, borrowed, and still did that training. And then I had nothing left. I literally had £23 in my account on the first day of the Financial Freedom Challenge. So yeah, that's what happened.
Nice. So like now you got some knowledge, some property knowledge. What did you then go do?
Yeah. So for those who haven't watched the video, you have to watch it. I can't say too much, man. This video is now just over a year, just a year and a bit. When it's got over 1 million views. So it's absolutely an amazing video. But in a nutshell, I went from £23 to becoming financially free, got a bunch of rent-to-rents, made £10,000 cash, clean money through packaging and selling deals. I found a great property as a HMO, brought a joint venture in. He's putting all the money in. I'm doing the work. Bought a free house. But the most and the best thing is I was able to leave this small little room with my girlfriend and to move into my dual apartment in Canary Wharf, which oversees majority of London. So yeah, man. And from there, as I said earlier, when you see something, you can't unsee it. And I've obviously gone from there to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, man. So that's kind of like what's happened.
Beautiful. So I think just in case people are not getting the message here, it is possible, and that's what this Game Changer podcast is all about. It's like, let's get as many people as possible to keep sharing the message of like, it is possible. It doesn't matter where you start from. Starting from zero or even minus, like I did. I started from like a minus 100,000. And had to claw that back. But other people as well, possible to go from having a okay lifestyle. Like you made money. Like you weren't shy about the fact that you could make money. You could apply yourself in a job. You could apply yourself in business and entrepreneurship. So you were making money. So like some people could sit back and say, that's not too bad, or this is okay, or like I'm getting by, or yeah, I got enough money to do what I want to do. So like if you had some like top tips that you could share, like thinking about like what are people sitting there now listening to this thinking, what are people thinking, like, can I do this? Is it for me? Like Evans has got this like charismatic personality. I'm an introvert. So like anybody who's thinking any of the kind of objections or the things that you might have told yourself along the way, like why you can't do it or why it might not work out. Like, what tips have you got now to help people on their way?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few tips, and those tips that you can obviously do these things right now today, and it's not going to cost you. It's not going to cost you a penny. Everybody watching this video can actually do this. And I heard a guy named Steve Harvey said this, and he said it a few times. But I was just like, I don't really know. And he's like, Oprah have been saying this on TV for the last 10 years, and no one's getting it. It's like this is like a law of success. It's like everybody who's successful knows that. It's like you have to be grateful, man. He's like, gratitude is everything. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. But he just said, he said one thing. It's just like, he gave an example. It was just like, he said, if you go on Neighbor, right? And if your neighbor comes knocking on your door and he asks you for example, a cup of flour, and you give it to him, right? And he walks away and he does not say thank you. Like, how would you feel? What if he comes back the next day and asks you for some flour? How would you feel? Would you give him the flour, or would you tell him to do one? Maybe give it to him again if you're a nice guy. But even after he takes the flour the second time and he does not say thank you, the third time when he comes round, he asks you for flour again. Will you give it to him? Probably not. Now, why am I saying this to you? I'm saying this because our lives are like this. Like, God has given us something, right? And most of us never really get a chance to tell God, thank you. Thank you for being alive today. Thank you for having food in the fridge. Thank you for having water. Listen to me very closely, man. Water and having food is like, for most people, it's nothing. But today, the 24th of June, right? There's over 2 billion people in the world who's going to go to bed with no food and no water. And some of you guys right now have got food and water. So I don't even know you. And I'm giving you a list of things that you have that you should be grateful for. And when you focus on those things, what I do every single day, every single morning I wake up, I've got a little red book, and every single day I try to add at least 2 things on that book that I have in my life that I'm grateful for. And what tends to happen, that was crazy. Like Steve Harvey said that, and I was like, there's no way this is possible, man. But I did it. And all of a sudden, things start to change. Because when you focus in on the things that you have, all of a sudden, God gives you more things to put on that list. I started writing that list, man. Swear to God, hand on my heart, man. And a few months after that, I came across property in Samuel Ridge. Like, I didn't share my life around completely. I'm not saying that this was the main thing, but that was the biggest changing thing in my life. So, number one, be grateful, man. Write it down. The second thing that you want to do is anything that you want in life, you go write it down. If you don't write it down, the odds of it happening is very, 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 very slim. You go write it down. You go write it down. Now, for me, I took my writing down to another level. I had a vision board. I started getting pictures. I wanted a Range Rover Vela. I actually bought a toy from Amazon, and I used to have this car playing with every single day for over a year. And in December 16th, I bought this car. So writing things down, getting pictures, you tend to attract it. So number one, be grateful. And number two, write down every single thing that you want, man. Because what's going to happen is 2 lists. 1 list of gratitude, 1 list of things that you want. If you keep writing them down and reading them every single day, what's going to happen is things from the list that you want will end up being on the gratitude list of things that you have. It happens like clockwork. So that's 2 of the things that I'll give anybody to do. And if you can do that consistently on a daily basis, your life is going to change. And the third thing is, of course, you can't just do these 2 things and not do anything, man. You have to obviously, go out there and take action. Like, it's not a video game, right? But if you do those 2 things, after taking action, whatever it is that you write on that list of things that you want, it's very likely to happen. So that's kind of like what I've done. Right now, you don't want to see the thing that's on my list, man. I've got some crazy things that I'm wanting on my vision board. But yeah, man, that's what I would say to anybody, watching this.
Nice. That's brilliant. And you're right. Like, you don't just sit there and like wait for it to happen. But what happens is it like brings the opportunity to you. Then you've got to like take the opportunity as it comes up. So like, yeah, I mean, we live in a doing universe, right? Like, you got to do stuff.
Correct.
In this universe. Yeah. So I really love that. Like, we actually created this little game. I've got 4 children. 3 of them are like, so 12, 7 and 4. We can obviously have conversation, and we played a grateful game. Yeah. And we literally just like on the way to school, we'll say I'm grateful for, the trees. And then like we just keep going around in circles and the kids love it. And I think, I never had this when I was a kid. It was living up a council estate. Everyone want to complain about everything, and you can never have it, or that person's lucky, or this person's, corrupt and they're greedy. That's why the only way they got money, let's go scratch their car, like this type of mentality. And it's not really bringing anything grateful or like bringing any gratitude into anyone's life. So yeah, what a great tip that is. So just got another question that's really important. But guys, if you've got any value from this, hit the share button. Let us know in the comments what some of your biggest takeaways have been from listening to this. Evans, you've been absolutely awesome. But don't go anywhere, because I've got an amazing question to ask you. Like, I ask everyone this because it's really important. But anyone who is here from the Real Life Tribe, at 8 o'clock, we got the Real Life Mastermind, the Property Mastermind for all you community members. And anybody who is looking to get started in property as well, you can do this virtually. Just got to get the insights, like Evan says here. He's got the insights, built the belief in himself, to then take some action and get out there. So there's a link there where you can get registered for the Get Started in Property called the GSIP, and we'll do that. But Evans, we have this saying in our community that we always say, and we want to spread it around the world. And that is, here's a question. We always say we can never, ever, ever let people forget that they must do the right thing for the right reason. Now, why is that?
So, sorry, say that one more time.
So the question is, you got to do the right thing for the right reason. Now, why is that?
Why is that? Oh, you must do the right thing for the right reason. You actually have me thinking there, man. You must do the right thing for the right reason. Because it's the right thing to do, I guess.
That's going to be one of the shortest answers I ever received.
Nah, you threw me off a little bit, but I don't really know, man. But yeah, man, you go. I mean, look, man, just follow your instincts. So I feel you have to do the right thing for the right reason, because it might feel like it's the right thing to do at the time, I guess. Just, follow your instincts and just go for it, man.
Yeah, we got someone saying that wasn't a question. It is a question. We say the question is, why is that?
Why is that? It is a question, yeah.
Yeah. So you got to do the right thing for the right reason. Why is that? That's a good question. So here's the thing. I want to add this. I need to add you to the reel. The Hall of Fame reel. Which is me asking this question. I love everybody's different angles here. But I want you to add you to the reel, Evans. So I want to ask you again. And in our community, we say you got to do the right thing for the right reason, because it's the only way to discover your true potential. Can you say that at the end?
Yeah, I can say it.
Okay, let me ask it again. So we got this saying in our community, Evans, that we can never, ever let people forget that they got to do the right thing for the right reason. Why is that?
I guess it's the only way to discover your full potential.
Yes, we love it. Let's give that some round of applause. Very cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on here. I think you gave some amazing insight to all the people and that have just been watching it live. I mean, this is going to be, we're going to post this everywhere. We're going to, put this out there to the people, because they need to hear this message. They need to hear your positivity. They need to hear your love and your passion for personal development. And go search up some of these people that Evans has said: Steve Harvey, Jim Rohn, all these amazing people. Just like for me, that's how I started out, listening to these people, thinking, they must be doing something right, having success, helping all these other people. So that's what we did. So thank you so much, Evans, for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you. Really appreciate your time. Hope people found value in my short interview.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So as Evan said, you got to do the right thing for the right reason, because that is the only way to discover